With a designing eye on budget, Lori Dahl went for spirited creativity in the first garden of her own.
But I gardened when I was a kid. Like when my parents had a backyard, we lived in the country. I would bike around on my bike and take up wildflowers and transplant them.
These days, Lori's assembling plants that she never met in her native Wisconsin. Her growing passion transcends borders.
I got this house 7 years ago, so I could garden. I have kind of a large vision.
It wasn't this visually exciting when she moved in.
There was a vast expanse of St. Augustine that was pristine. Like, they had the nicest lawn in the block, and then a very large and very ugly swimming pool, and then also a very large and very ugly cinder block goldfish pond that the raccoons would frolic in by night.
Saddled with patterns of sun and shade, she whittled the grass into a fluent path against dimensional borders. For visual momentum in the beds, Lori strategized with colors, texture, and evergreen structure.
It goes with just the art principles of design. Like, you want a lot of contrast. Anytime I have something like the bamboo moody where, it's really feathery and there's a lot of movement, I want something really solid and structural to kind of back it up. It's like making any sort of graphic design composition, where you want it to be kind of dynamic. And then also, one of the first things I realized too is you really need to design for the winter.
With a little paint to match her house, she turned her elderly fence into a dynamo instead of an eyesore.
I do love the blue, but it's a function of just looking at it visually because it makes it recede. So you don't notice it anymore because it's an old fence, and it looks really bad. But you can't tell because it's a uniform color. And your eye doesn't notice it because it's that dark color. Every night when the sun starts to go down, it just disappears. And it's like that whole patch just becomes part of the woods behind it. It's kind of magical.
As a new Texas gardener, she had to weather the weather for a few years to see what worked true for her.
Of course, the first year I was here that I was really planting a lot was 2007, and that, of course, was the year where it rained the whole time. I thought I was a genius. Everything I put in the ground looked beautiful. And then the next year came.
As much as she loves fragrant roses, she's kept only a few of the hardiest from her original dozens.
At this point, it's what is hard to kill. Because, I've got my whole yard is a garden. It's a lot to keep up with for one person, so I want something I can stick in the ground, forget about it. I don't want to water, I don't want to spend a lot of time pruning. I just want it to look beautiful and kind of perform the function that I put it there for. In Texas, it's hard to have the look I want, because I want, lush. I don't want to be looking at mulch. I just want everything to kind of flow together. I want it to feel kind of wild but controlled.
Pollinators go wild over her native choices for them. One flow that was a big problem, runoff water in rain bombs from the property upstream.
I feel like the most efficient place to store water is in the ground, so I try to direct my water.
She engineered multiple levels to slow it down, sinking into her plants rather than racing towards the house.
A lot of my material was stuff left behind by the previous owners. Like all of that landscaping prefab brick was actually from when I dismantled the ugly goldfish pond.
Some of it framed her vegetable garden. Since runoff heads to that spot, she dug a trench 2 feet down and filled it with unfinished compost, layered with final compost. In heavy rains, the trench catches it slowly to wick up to her crops. She transferred the caliche she dug out for a patio. After packing it down, she edged it with concrete pavers, topped it with decomposed granite, and added travel path pavers.
It basically stops it completely right here to keep it from running against my foundation.
A raised bed next to the sunroom doubles as a water blockade and another level of attention outside or from indoors. Until she can fix the gutters, Lori came up with an inexpensive solution to keep their downpour away from the foundation.
It's an idea born of desperation, but I also wanted to implement some sort of rainwater collection for pots and things like that. Everything responds so much more to water from the sky than city water. And none of it's going under my deck.
Recirculating water in a basin entices birds and charms up an island bed. A galvanized steel container holds the pump.
It's a sculpture by John Lamos. but he uses, recyclable, sustainable materials. It's like a lightweight concrete composite sort of thing. So it's really light, I can pick it up. I just like the dynamic form. It seems like it would go well with water.
A welder friend made a circular grid out of scrap metal to top it.
And then I've got window screen on top there, and then the rocks on top there, and I made myself a little faucet thing and plumbing parts. I just kind of cobbled it together out of stuff I had. I didn't want to spend a lot of money, I wanted it to look cool.
What's also cool is her eye for accents that compel a closer look at plants. To push the view skyward, she did a spin on bottle trees. A dead branch on her mesquite tree was spared for art. She sparkles things up even more with mirrors.
I put mirrors everywhere where it feels really dark. It feels kind of cave-like. And it feels almost like little windows into, another world.
In front, Lori changed its former perspective as stark open ground.
There was a large Arizona ash, and it was the ultimate irony that I bought. One of the reasons I bought this place is, there's a large mature tree in the front yard. It looks welcoming, it looks homey. Within the first 2 years, the tree died. I was very sad. And then all of a sudden, I had this ugly, boring slope of St. Augustine with a large stump in the middle of it. And I just would not do.
In place of the dead tree, she framed a screening nook. Along with getting rid of grass, her design of levels trickles rain into the soil rather than swooshing it off to the street. The upper level is also a cozier and more entertaining spot near the porch.
I wanted to be able to use my yard and be comfortable in my yard and make it still look welcoming from the street.
With sand, rebar, gravel, what she could lift herself, and lots of sweat, Lori placed and leveled concrete pavers.
It's what can fit in a Camry.
Near the curb, she exchanged grass for raised beds of fragrance, flowers, and contrast with Germanic agaves and yuccas.
I wanted to firm it up a little bit more. I wanted to have berries, but I wanted to feel accessible. So it just seems like there's more of a divide between public and private space, and you have a little bit of a wall. I had bricks. I still had leftover bricks. I had so many bricks.
With imagination and determination to accept challenges and respond to changes, Lori keeps growing to respect the environment while making her garden a pretty place to live.
I feel like your home is kind of your retreat. It's like your safe sanctuary. And I feel like with a lot of yards that I'm in, it feels like I'm in a dog run. It's like I want to feel like I'm somewhere beautiful and relaxing.